Welcome to this CPD presentation on specifying a render system. The goal of this CPD is to highlight the different considerations when specifying a render system based on building type, location, insulation requirements and ongoing maintenance. We're going to run through a quick introduction to the company, followed by an overview of the main types of render you'll find in UK construction, with the pros and cons of each. We can then look at various types of building and run through the available render options and their different application methods. SAS Europe Limited is a UK-based manufacturer and supplier of external render systems and accessories. With over 20 years supplying high-quality materials, SAS continues to innovate and create advanced systems and solutions, tailoring the latest materials to match the construction method, specifying solutions that aren't just fit for purpose, but designed for purpose. Based in the southwest of England, SAS distribute nationwide, offering fast delivery direct to site. SAS Europe's product range consists of ProBead UPVC render beads, ProRend Color and GoRend ThruColor Monocouche one-coat renders, ProRend Premium base coats and paints, ProRend EIFS external installation systems, and ProWool rendered rainscreen systems. There are many different render products and systems available. So firstly, we're going to run through the main types of systems and then have a look at which is most appropriate for each situation. There's a good reason rendering is such a popular method for cladding a house, from achieving a traditional cottage look to finishing the most modern designs with clean, crisp lines. Render comes in a huge range of finishes and colours. Render can be used in conjunction with other forms of cladding to create attractive features and details. There are products and finishes to suit all budgets and everything can be tailored to the construction method. You can use render as part of a renovation to completely transform a dated building into something smart and modern. If you use external wall insulation, you can even transform a building while increasing the insulation value. When you're looking at render, it's important to consider different types of products and systems to ensure you're making an informed decision when it comes to the right system to suit your needs. If we start by having a look at traditional sand and cement render, we can have a look at the pros and cons. One of the main reasons people like to use sand and cement is because the material is very cheap. Also, because the method has been around for such a long time, a lot of general builders can render in sand and cement. Traditional sand and cement render is normally made by mixing 4 parts of sand with 1 part cement and is applied to the substrate at a depth of about 15 to 20 millimeters. It's this on-site mixing that throws up one of the main cons. If you're hand mixing on site, you can't guarantee the consistency in the mix, meaning some areas will be stronger than others. The application is done over the course of 2 to 3 coats, leaving the render to fully cure for a few days between coats. Once finished and fully cured, the render must be painted to finish. While this method has stood the test of time, it's not without its drawbacks. Mixing render on site also means that you've got no manufacturer's warranty, which is one of the main reasons that housing warranty providers prefer pre-mixed products. The cement content and application thickness of sand and cement also means that it's not really suitable for any substrate that could experience movement, as this will likely lead to cracking. So while the material itself is very cheap, due to the number of coats, drying times and paint application, the whole process takes quite a long time, which is obviously paid for in labour and scaffold time. Let's compare this to an OCR. This is a generic term given to a one-coat render that's pre-mixed and a sand and cement alternative. These often contain polymers and bonding agents as well as additional additives to aid application. While OCRs are generally more expensive than sand and cement, they're still a relatively low-cost solution. It's also worth noting that while it's a great alternative to sand and cement, it isn't sand and cement, so you should be using a professional with experience in this type of material. While OCRs still need to be finished and painted like sand and cement, they do come with a number of additional benefits. The pre-bag nature of the product means that you've got complete consistency throughout the mix. This obviously makes the mixing process a lot easier, as everything you need is in the bag. This also means that the manufacturer can carefully balance waterproofer, polymers and any additional additives to create a more capable material that can generally be applied in one coat with a couple of passes, reducing the application time. Pre-bagged material also has the added benefit of having a manufacturer's warranty. For this reason, it's the option preferred over sand and cement by most warranty providers. The polymers included in the mix can increase the capability of the render and can also create a comparatively lightweight solution. A huge advantage to any commercial project, or anywhere you will need a considerable amount of render, is the ability to apply the material by machine, which again decreases the overall labour time. At SAS, our OCR solution is ProRend Float. With its ease of hand or machine application and a smooth finish, it's a great alternative to sand and cement, offering all the benefits discussed. We also offer a range of premium paints to complete the application. Let's have a look at through-colour monocouche render. As we know, on some sites speed is key. It's for this reason that a large portion of major house builders adopted through-colour render systems, often referred to as monocouche render. With all the benefits that we've discussed when using a pre-bagged system, this also has the added benefit of being pre-coloured, removing the need to paint. Removing the need to paint also results in the reduced scaffold time, which can equate to a great saving. Available in a wide variety of colours, monocouche renders offer a great solution for new build block homes. The material should still be applied by a professional, but due to its popularity this has become a common trade. At SAS we have two fantastic monocouche renders, with GoRend offering a highly competitive hand or machine applied render, giving you all the advantages that we've discussed, and ProRend Colour, our premium silicon enhanced monocouche render, giving you an additional level of water repellence. Now let's have a look at how this compares to a thin coat system. Thin coat systems offer a high performing finish suitable for application onto a wide range of substrates. While the application is completely different to a monocouche render, it generally requires 3 coats. A thin coat system will offer drastically increased crack resistance. The thin application combined with the lack of cement allows a thin coat to absorb a lot of movement before cracking. The added flexibility makes thin coat systems the perfect solution for both EWI and rainscreen systems, as we'll see. Another reason you may be considering a thin coat system is a higher level of water resistance, especially when using a silicon-based top coat to provide additional protection from the elements. Due to the nature of the thin coat render, it's much easier to tint, and as such it's available in an almost unlimited colour choice. Our thin coat option is ProRend ColorTex, a silicon-based render system available in a 1.5mm uniform finish in over 65,000 colours. Rainscreen cladding creates a clear cavity from the main superstructure, allowing the building to breathe and giving the highest level of protection from the elements. Due to the potential for movement in steel and timber frame construction, a thin coat render is the best option for a rendered rainscreen, giving you all of the previously mentioned benefits and the choice of almost any colour, as well as all the advantages associated with a rainscreen, such as the unrivaled protection from the elements. In terms of installation, the process is a lot more involved, as you're creating a whole new external wall before applying the render system. A rendered rainscreen is a perfect option for a steel or timber frame construction, as it negates the need for an external masonry wall, potentially saving a lot of time and money. Our rendered rainscreen option is ProWall. Using our own cementitious render carrier board and our fully integrated system, we can offer a fully fire rated system with a 30-year BBA. Now let's have a look at external wall insulation. External insulation systems are generally finished with thin coat render systems, giving you all the benefits that we previously discussed, while increasing the insulation value. This system is generally used for renovation and can be an ideal solution to bridging multiple substrates and solving damp issues. It provides excellent protection from the elements. As in the installation of the rainscreen system, this is a lot more involved, requiring the installation and fixing of the insulation prior to the render application, so this should always be installed by a specialist. This system can also be used on new builds to increase the insulation values when there's not enough room for adequate insulation within the wall structure. Our external insulation option is ProRend EIFS. With an option for EPS or mineral wool, we're able to achieve a 30-year BBA. Something we should also cover is traditional lime render. Lime render uses naturally hydrated lime and sand to create a cement-free render mix. This traditional method is very breathable and flexible, enough to accommodate minor movement without cracking. For this reason, lime render is the preferred solution for most cob walls or historic restoration. While the properties of lime render are perfect for this type of work, it's not without issues. Lime is a specialist product and will need to be installed by a specialist applicator. Lime renders are often finished with a lime wash, although some specialist mineral paints can be used to achieve desired colours. The combination of specialist materials and application makes the whole process quite expensive. As with traditional sand and cement, an on-site mix can create a lack of consistency with no underlying manufacturer's warranty. Some of these issues can be removed by having a look at a pre-bagged solution instead. As with site-mixed lime render, you retain the breathability and the flexibility of lime render, but with the added benefit of a consistent mix, which will reduce your mixing time as well as add a manufacturer's warranty. Lime render is generally used in restoration or very specific instances requiring a high level of breathability. When breathability is less of an issue, other cement-based options offer a much higher level of water resistance at a much lower cost. Now that we have an overview of the different systems available, let's have a look at this from the other side. Based on your building type and your requirements, what type of system should you be looking at? Let's start with new build blockwork. Based on a standard cavity wall, the insulation requirements should be met within the construction, and the external skin should be a dense concrete block, giving you the perfect substrate for render. You have 4 main options open to you: traditional sand and cement render, OCR one-coat render, monocouche through-colour render, or a thin-coat system. Depending on the exposure of the site, water resistance may be the deciding factor. British Standards divides the UK into 4 exposure zones. Monocouche, OCR and sand and cement are typically well suited to projects up to and including severe, but tend to require a thicker application or overcoated with a water repellent finish for any very severe locations. Thin coat render typically offers a higher level of water resistance and is well suited to all exposure zones, especially if the top coat is silicon based. It's also worth mentioning at this point that most render products can be applied at temperatures between 5 and 30 degrees centigrade unless they've been specifically formulated for low temperatures. So it's worth bearing this in mind when compiling the build schedule. Exposure zones will affect the maintenance schedule for any render system. For that reason, ongoing maintenance should be a big factor when deciding if you're going to use a coloured system or one that requires painting. If we have a look at the application of our ProRend float as an OCR, this is mixed up with clean water with a drill and whisk. The first pass of 7 to 8 mm is applied and fully embedded with ProMesh Grade 5. This is followed with a second pass bringing the total thickness up to 15 mm. The material is then levelled. can leave this with a sponge finish to be painted. Alternatively, at this point, a colour primer could be added. The primer can be applied using a brush or roller. This is followed by our colour text info system. This creates a much more water repellent, low maintenance finish. The colour text is finished with a plastic float, giving you an attractive uniform finish. The monocouche application couldn't be simpler, as you only need to use a single product. Go Rend is applied directly to the blockwork at 7 to 8mm. Fully embed the Go Mesh fiberglass reinforcement mesh. The second pass brings the render to about 17mm. This is levelled off and then left to cure. The next day this is scratched back to 15mm, giving you an attractive finish without the need to paint in a very short amount of time. So what about timber frame? If you're considering a new timber frame building that will require render, you've got a couple of options. You can build an external skin of blockwork or brickwork to receive a rendered finish. A cavity is created and the new wall is tied back to the frame. You can now render the blockwork using any of the methods that we've discussed. While this works well, it does mean that you're adding a masonry build to the process, which comes with its own lengthy timescales and can be affected by the weather. The second option is to fit a rendered rainscreen. This will dramatically reduce the build time as well as reducing the thickness of the foundations, as you don't need to accommodate a masonry wall. As we previously discussed, this gives you exceptional protection from the elements with a very low risk of cracking, and the option of almost any colour. If we have a look at our Pro Wall installation video filmed in our training centre, you can see how this would be applied. Firstly, a fully ventilated cavity is created using 25 by 75mm battens. The ProBoard render carrier board is fixed using stainless steel screws. ProRend Light is a highly polymer modified base coat formulated to give incredible adhesion and allow an element of flexibility, perfectly suited to timber frame application. The ProMesh Grade 3 is fully embedded into the base coat, reinforcing the entire area and providing an additional layer of crack resistance. The colour text primer is applied to the base coat, pre-colouring the surface to ensure excellent colour coverage. The final application of ProRender Colour Text Silicon Top Coat provides an attractive finish that is available in a wide variety of colours. It's supplied in a pre-mixed bucket to ensure colour consistency. Steel frame buildings are treated very similarly to timber frame when it comes to your render options. Again, you could build a masonry wall to open up almost every render as an option, or you can use a rendered rainscreen. This is achieved in almost the same way as you would with timber frame, but by using a helping hand system rather than battens. This allows you to fix any additional insulation back to the sheathing. This is also a great solution for high-rise steel frames, where masonry just isn't an option. With the latest fire regulations for cladding over 18 metres, many types of cladding are no longer acceptable. Fortunately, our ProWall rendered rainscreen meets the required standard of A2 S1 D0, making it a perfect option for many high-rise buildings. A renovation holds the widest range of possible substrates and requirements, and as such it's a good idea to discuss the project with your preferred render supplier. But one key point to ascertain is whether you're looking to increase the insulation value of the building and also if the building requires lime render. A popular option for renovation is using an external insulation system to give a complete new facade to most existing buildings with the added benefits of increasing the insulation value. The insulation system can be either EPS, expanded polystyrene, or mineral wool, with the EPS offering a better insulation value and the mineral wool offering a higher level of fire retardance. Whatever the requirements, there's always a solution to fit your project. The insulation is first stuck to the substrate using ProRend light adhesive. The boards are then mechanically fixed to the substrate using the appropriate fixings, locking them in place. The same ProRend light material is used for the base coat and fully embedded with ProMesh grade brie. The colour primer is then applied, followed by the colour text thin coat system. As you can see from these before and after pictures, it offers a fantastic transformation with a low maintenance finish. ICF, or insulated concrete formwork, is very much its own category, an innovative building solution to offer short build times and incredible insulation values. An ICF system consists of prefabricated hollow polystyrene blocks that interlock to form a structure. These are then reinforced and concrete is poured into the hollow. This system provides fantastic U values, ranging from around 0.3 right down to 0.11. The ICF structure also provides fantastic airtightness, and the concrete and the insulation combine to create a sealed shell, reducing heat loss. When it comes to your render options, this should be finished in the same way as your external insulation system, so most manufacturers will suggest a thin coat system. As you're applying the render to a soft substrate, the flexibility offered by a thin coat system suits the application very well and allows you a fantastic freedom when it comes to colour choice. So in summary, there's no one product to suit all requirements. There's some great products on the market that provide key advantages when used in the right situation. Consider all factors. The method of construction is obviously key, but as we discussed, location, exposure, and ongoing maintenance are also key considerations. To make sure you get the most out of your project, it's always a good idea to talk to the manufacturer who can guide you to the best solution. All of these considerations will lead you to choosing the right system for the job. At SAS Europe, our technical team is on hand to work with you through every stage of the development. Whatever the form of construction, we can offer guidance, specifications, samples and support to ensure your project looks fantastic and stays that way. I hope that you found this presentation useful, and if you've got any project that you'd like to discuss, please contact our technical team on 01647 24620 or email info@sas-europe.com. Thanks a lot for watching.